Hey everyone, this is the Nips and Sips podcast show featuring me. I'm Dr. Jeremy Boyd, and my usual partner in crime over there, Dr. Brandon Cruz. So, you got a drink? I thought you were bypassing it.
Oh, is that what we're doing? No, I'm trying this
Oh,
beer. You don't have a drink?
oh no, I do. I thought you said you weren't going for it. It's St. Patty's Day, everybody. So
Oh, I thought you meant like, am I going out later on today to get
oh
fucked up?
no, I was talking about the show.
Oh, my bad. All right.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, happy St. Patty's Day to our Nips and
Oh,
Sips
look, you
fam.
even got the green shirt on. I
Oh
got a
yeah,
green planner book. That's I
oh,
got. There you go.
the
We dressed up yesterday at the office in green with leprechaun hats and stuff.
Nice. Hopefully, hoping the team's got their green shirts on today. I'll go make my rounds later. I'm a little disappointed. I don't have a traditional Irish beer. I have a Guinness, but it's pretty warm, so I'm not gonna make that sacrifice today.
I couldn't get Irish whiskey out. I didn't even think of that.
No,
I've been telling Marta, she's I'm sure people who listen to the show, she's one of our senior therapists at Pursue PT, but she got me this beer a while back and she's been nagging me. Have you drank it? Have you drank it? Have you drank it? And I was like, I'm saving for an episode. So I was like, let me just do it and make her proud.
There you go.
So that's why I don't have an Irish drink, but now I'm like, maybe I should get a shot real quick just for, St. Patty's Day's sake. But anyway, I got this raspberry whale cake. I'm curious to see. I mean, cake sounds sweet. It's a cream ale. I might like it. Raspberry, it might be a little bitter. So we'll find out. What do you got?
I got which is good for our topic today. And it's got some green on it, so I didn't go totally against the holiday. It's called Level Up Tropical. It's from one of my favorite of all time breweries, Yards in Philly. So it's an Indian Pale Ale, obviously tropical flavors. I do have at least an Irish themed glass from Gale Brewing. That's in where I go. New York, in upstate New York, Finger Lakes. That's where it was. Wasn't the best brewery, but that's probably the reason why I can't blank it out. But great glass, so we'll give it up to them. So good brew. Again, I've had this. I've had a 6-pack of it. So I'll test it on the show for today's rating. I know I've been a little bit generous of lately, so I'm gonna let it sit on the palate for a little bit before I give my final rating. There we go. So today, we guess we got distracted. Today we're gonna be talking about imposter syndrome. Brandon had a awesome Fridays with a Fellow that he's been featuring on his Think Like a Fellow Instagram live every Friday at
7:30 a.m. Yeah,
7:30 a.m. So before most of us kind of get out there and start treating for the day, Brandon's been having some good live conversations and getting the people going. So one of them, the conversations was about imposter syndrome. I know I've seen a lot about it, especially in the consulting world, about imposter syndrome, where is this belief that you pretty much don't have enough confidence in yourself or don't believe you're as good as what other people perceive that you really are. So Brandon, being that this is you just had a conversation about it, why don't you lead us off while I
well, I gotta do my beer here too.
Oh yeah,
cheers to that, my man.
Cheers. Oh, you gotta get some beer cups.
No, I have one. I just didn't get it.
Yeah. So, I just would be curious to see what that looks like. You want me
to get a beer cup?
Nah, it's all right. It's all right.
Well, it says cream ale, so I'm assuming it's
lighter, right?
All right. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this. It's not that raspberry. It's definitely light. I'd probably use this for beer pong or something, to tell you the truth.
Really? Well, it's cream ale, so it's lighter. So I guess that does warrant that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent. I'm at a loss for words. My palate isn't as groomed as you are when it comes to the beer world. But the can's cool.
Yeah.
It has 2 whales on the front. I don't know where she got this from. I got to ask her again. I forget where she got it from. Anyway, all right, moving on. We're getting sidetracked on St. Patty's and beer. Imposter syndrome. Yeah, the reason why I did the IG live, Think Like a Fellow live Friday with the Fellows, is because like literally like I don't even think it was 3 days in a row. It was just like probably 3 times within like a day, right? Where I saw on Instagram someone posting about, are you imposter syndrome and all this shit. Then I saw what I say, I'm sorry, first one was Facebook, second one was Twitter, talking about how I didn't say the word imposter syndrome, but basically what value do you get at the OCS, right?
I've seen 3 times in the
And
last couple weeks.
yeah, and then the one that I saw you going ham on by Physiogram, someone had posted about imposter syndrome and again the OCS and the lack of value the OCS has. And it's just like, what is it with this imposter syndrome lately? And why is that the default? And I'll say this before we even get started. The biggest imposter syndrome, if we're going to use imposter syndrome, the biggest time you're an imposter is when you graduate DPT school and you think you know something. Like right there, that's the biggest time you will be an imposter, but yet that's the biggest time you're like, I have a doctor, I know what I'm doing. Some people think, it's an entry-level program on you, an entry level, keyword entry.
Yeah.
And people come out, I'm a doctor, I know X, Y, and Z, I'm the shit. And granted, in some respects you are, and you should have that confidence, but that's where you probably know the least, right?
Yeah.
Versus somebody who's done other certifications or tests or whatever, right? So this goes beyond like residencies and fellowships and courses and alphabet soup, right? Like our profession is notorious for alphabet soup, right? And yes, Jeremy and I have the alphabet behind our name, right? And we're attacking it. But I, in my opinion, this is Brandon Cruz's Think Like a Fellow's opinion. There is a difference between different credentials or different letters behind your name. Is there the letters like an OCS, an SCS, a FAMP that typically require a fellowship training, which minimum is a year of training, if not more, residency training, which is a year, or if you choose a shortcut route, which is just a study for the OCS, which is fine, but you probably need a good 2, 3, 4 months of studying, depending on what type of person you are. And it's training you to treat on the up-to-date information, right? That takes time to put in versus your credentials that you get because you took a weekend NASM course. Like if you're a PT putting a NASM PES or CES certification at the end of your name, like that's the alphabet soup, right? If you're taking just, where you're paying money and at the end of the weekend, maybe they give you some BS test, or sometimes they swoop that test under the rug and don't even do the test. And they give you, the letters at the end, like those are BS credentials. Those are BS names. Those are, that's the imposter syndrome. Like what value did that add to your clinical skills, clinical reasoning, whatever, versus, something that takes you a little bit deeper. I'll stop there. I know you have some stuff you want to say, Jared, but like, what's imposter syndrome? Like, let's stop bastardizing our profession because, no matter whether it's PT, surgery, business coaching and PT, business sales and other industries, like, well, chances are you've either done it a really long time and got good at it, or you had a coach or a mentor or some type of process that has helped you learn. Why is that such a bad thing nowadays? But anyway, I'll continue in a second.
Yeah, I mean, to go off of that, I think a lot of what people experience of why it's such a bad thing is, I believe a lot of us coming out of school we're such a jaded profession. We got this doctorate, it costs a shit ton of money. We don't get paid a ton, and that's it. If I'm not gonna get paid a ton, then that's it for my education. Fuck it, I've got my doctorate and everything like that. I'm good enough to go out there and start treating. Great. I think that's important. Obviously, get the hands-on skills and everything like that. But in the same sense, like us bitching about the fact that we don't get paid enough, we have these individuals that go out there, don't push themselves, don't learn anything more than what they learned back, in PT school, which is again outdated. And let's say even the OCS, the SCS, those tests are outdated. but
To an extent, I think there's
to,
some.
to a
Yeah.
certain extent, probably not as bad as our boards exam or standard MPTE exam,
Yeah.
but at least you're pushing and learning some more stuff. And a lot of that's more critical thinking. The MPTE is more like there's right and wrong answers.
You're
And
safe.
yeah. Are you safe? A lot of the OCS and SCS exams is there's 4 right answers. It's causing critical thinking, having you think at a higher level to pick the best right answer. So a lot of people say like, oh yeah, it's a couple years back and whatever it may be, but I really think it's this, this jadedness that we have of like, oh yeah, we've put enough time and money in, so therefore I'm good enough. Let me get out there and start a business. Hey man, good for you if you can. I love the idea of it, but I don't think that warrants a reason to stop learning and continuing to grow. Unfortunately, everyone I've known that has started a business within the first couple months of graduating has not succeeded. Their businesses are no longer a thing, which is just, it's sad. A lot of those is maybe, the lack of mentorship, the lack of kind of pushing for best outcomes. Yeah, you may have had even some good mentors as CIs and that sort of stuff, but that's let's see what most it's 30 weeks, 32 weeks is the maximum.
32 to 34. Yeah.
Is the minimum amount of clinical time you have, right? Less than a year. And you're trying to treat, individuals that have had pain longer than you've been alive. The complexities behind that. So, obviously these programs, residencies, fellowships, and that sort of stuff, obviously we preach is the main beauty behind is having excellent mentorship in tying with more up-to-date knowledge and research and whatever that may be, and learning from some of the greatest minds in our profession. I think that's really what we need to push for versus, you're talking about weekend courses. I've seen, I put it up on my story a couple months ago, a virtual class. I don't even think it was a full day class. And then you got 6 letters after your name or 3 letters. And it was like, I got 3 of them in a row from the same company, all these little pamphlets. And it was just like, it literally advertised no test needed. So like that's where a lot of the issue is. If you want to argue that, the putting the time and effort into taking the OCS exam isn't going to help you become a better clinician, it's probably because what you're doing to try and pass that test. I'm just going to memorize it just so I can pass the test, just so I can get the letters, just so I can get a maybe $2,000 raise in my salary, versus I'm going to take this and I'm going to try and blend it in. I'm going to try and apply it to the clinic. I'm going to be, evaluating day in, day out. And I'm using this to kind of springboard my career. I think that's where we really need to think about in regards to these tests or these advancements and stuff like that. Again, I don't really care about the letters. I care about the training and the mentorship that happened along the road of getting these letters, if we want to go in the letter route.
Yeah, you to me, you hit the nail on the head there. It's about not studying to pass the test, which what most people do in PT school. They're just, oh, we have a test coming up, let me get an A. It means I know it, but 3 months down the road, you forget. Mm-hmm. Are you studying to pass the test, or are you studying to begin to apply it and change your practice? Right. If you say you take an OCS exam and you didn't learn anything, like that's on you. Mm-hmm. That like you said, you don't care about the letters. Like when I finished my residency and I was studying for the OCS, and obviously you're nervous, and I'm like, oh no, I was like, I don't care if I pass this, because my practice patterns and the way I think has evolved so much within that 13 months that if I fail this exam, I'm not losing my knowledge. Like I now have that knowledge. That's the beauty about investing in yourself. Like, but whether it's a course on business side, or a course on a clinical side, or a course on a hobby that you like to do, or maybe you like to play golf and you want to get better, so you get a coach, right? Like that's what this all is. But there's this like mantra or stigma that you can't do that in the PT realm. Like you spend enough education, and that's the education system. It's just broken in the United States. Like the fact that it costs over $100,000 to get a 3-year degree, like that's a different topic. But all these people that are on Twitter and Instagram, and it's our profession, that are, well, I don't get a raise, so why should I take it? Wow, that's such a small and narrow mind that, like, you're never going to progress in life if the only time you do something is because of a financial gain. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're shooting the profession in the foot. And you'd be surprised when you take a test like an OCS, or you do a residency, or you get some mentorship by somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing. The amount of passion and the eye-opening, I don't know, experience that you go through, where it's like, oh, wow, this can be way more than what I was taught it to be. Right. And then you go find ways to make that OCS work for you. Like, yeah, we spend what, $8,400 on a residency, another 10, 15 grand on a fellowship. It's safe to say I made my money back.
Oh,
right? I'm a business owner, right? That's profitable. We host courses that are profitable, right? We do that not because it's necessarily a financial gain, but like we were able to do that because we made our skills that good, that damn good, where we could provide value, and now people want to learn from us. Right. We made our skills that damn good because we get calls. Hey, I want to see Jeremy Boyd, or I want to see Brandon Cruz. Right. Well, he's not seeing patients, so you have to see the staff who that came out. Not the trash, the staff who he's trained. I want to say staff who he's trained. The staff who he's trained, right? Because of my skill set. Because I put that time in, right? We take business courses to learn how to market and communicate better and X, Y, and Z to grow a business. So we can now foster and house physical therapy the way it should be. I'm pretty sure you and I'm sure there's other people as well, you and I have made our money back on our education.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, it wasn't an immediate return.
Nope.
But too often we look at an immediate return. Like, you're in this game for 30 to 40 years. And too many people are looking at what they're getting tomorrow or 6 months from now, instead of what they're getting 5 years, 10 years from now. Because I've talked to on consultation calls, or people just texting me or emailing me, hey, I'm burnt out. I've been practicing 2 years. Oh, I'm not. I've been practicing 9. Well, what are you doing? Or really what the question is, what aren't you doing that you're burnt out already? And we had this is going to be another conversation. We have another podcast we have. Well, like, what are you going to do to get better? Like, what are you doing about X, Y, and Z? Right. We talked about somebody who sucks at a manipulation. Okay, fine. What are you going to do to get better? Like, you don't get better by just reading shit. You don't get better by just like studying, which is, therapists are great at studying.
Oh yeah.
But where's the clinical applicability?
It's got to be live, in all honesty, because that's the human being. It's live, it's interactive, it's based on the environment, it's based off the culture and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, you can read, and that's it. Like, you always hear, like in school, it's like, oh, you have someone who's incredibly book smarts, they're acing all their tests. But once you hear that they went out into the real world in the clinic, that they struggled, they almost failed their clinics. Like, how's that possible? You went from leading in the class and you had your A's, and now you're out there and you're struggling. It's because you need to tie it all together. That's the beauty of the profession. I mean, piggyback off of what you said, Brandon. I say it, and maybe controversial, but in regards to like PT salaries, the fact that you make 70, 75, maybe you're 10, 15 years out, only making $80,000, that's your fault. It really is. That's I mean, if you're on, Physiogram, which, is a great resource, and some of these bigger PT sort of sites, is, all you see in these comments is people bitching about, we don't get paid enough and this and that. Earn the right to get paid more, get your outcomes better, that more people refer to you. or these trainings give you the confidence. Not only do these trainings give you the confidence clinically, give you the confidence to be, I always say, like the alpha, and being able to market yourself and show your
Communicate.
expertise,
Yeah.
do these sort of things so that you do get more money from a clinical standpoint. But on top of that, it also gives you the confidence for other projects and the time management. Oh, you're bitching about, oh, I don't make enough money in my 40-hour work week. Well, what are you doing with the rest of your hours? Well, when we went through residency, we'd work our 40, I was working more than 40 plus hours. And then I'd go home, have to read articles, hop on the discussion board, do virtual rounds, all that sort of stuff. There's plenty of times I was up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then all of a sudden that's removed from your life. What are you doing with that time? You can get another job, or you can, invest into a business. And that time management, confidence skills gives you other opportunities. I got an undergraduate job midway through the interview for a subject I have really no experience or no understanding with, simply based off of confidence and my training and willingness to keep doing more education despite, in theory, being done. Like, I didn't need to do any more. I just chose to do more. And here you go. Here's a couple grand for the semester to teach something, to undergraduates. All right, so that's it. That just paid off my residency. Great. I repeat that for 2, 3 years. Wow, that paid off a fellowship. You do other things like you teach in Con Ed, you do virtual teaching, you're adjuncting, you do consulting, whatever it may be. It all pays off. But I think we need to take some accountability. We expect accountability from our patients to do their exercises, to listen to our instructions. Where's our accountability to ourselves of, really trying to push this profession forward and work towards getting paid more? I think if we really, are truly the neuromusculoskeletal experts, we start changing everyone's minds. And we're starting to in some places, but we still see people who went to shitty practitioners or places end up having surgeries, and they're in that vicious cycle. But the places, like most of our clients, we're the first one. I just got off the phone before this podcast with someone who sounded like she got a probably grade 1, grade 2 calf strain. Could have easily went to the surgeon or ortho to that, but she called me up first. If we change the mindset of people, and we are becoming the most popular neuromusculoskeletal practitioner out there, hell, that's going to probably lead to more money. So that's my end rant on people and accountability. And that drink.
I mean, it's great. You have to be accountable. And not everybody needs to go teach courses and teach at school and own businesses. You don't have to, but the environment you're in, choose one you like to be in, choose one that's going to invest in you as well. I think that's a big thing that's not done enough in our profession. Like, you're out on your own, right? How many times, oh yeah, you're going to get mentoring, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. Okay. And then you have no backing, right? Go to a job that is going to invest in you as well. And I know Jeremy and I do that, right? And it's not to pat ourselves on the back, but we want our staff to grow. We want our people to do better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's going to just lead to a fruitful environment. But this notion, and it comes to, like, you were talking about all these people ranting on social media on what we get paid. You're right. The system is broken. Insurance companies need to pay us more.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or we need to charge more like whatever. But on the other side, do you guys understand, like, oh, I did the calculations. If I see X amount of people on this, I make 200 grand for the company. Okay, well, and I should get more. Well, there's your salary, add another 30% onto that because of taxes or Social Security and Medicare and all that other bullshit that the owner has to pay. You don't have to pay. There's a front desk staff they have to pay. There's the building that needs to be paid. There's the materials and costs of running the clinic that needs to happen, utility, tables, etc., bands, weight, squat, like there's all this other stuff that you have to pay for, marketing expenses that need to be paid. Right. So the fact that you don't want to understand all the other stuff that goes into it, well, that's why your salary sucks, because our profession is too tied down to hourly rates and 40-hour work weeks. Like anybody who makes serious money in any realm works more than 40 hours a week, and they usually have a commission job, right? So you want to make more money? I'll gladly sack up a deal with an employee. Hey, you want more money? Great. It's based upon performance and people seen. You want to see more people, then make more money. Great. That's what sales, that's what commission is, right?
Yeah.
That's what, Tesla is. That's what Amazon is, right? They sell you. They have billions of people paying $20 a month or a year, whatever the hell their fee is, for Amazon Prime, right? Like that, it's conversions, it's sales, it's marketing yourself, it's convincing people that you're the better option, it's providing value, it's being able to communicate to a patient your plan of care, why they need to come see you, like you said, and being able to have the confidence to do that. Well, that confidence comes from the knowledge, right? So you get knowledge two ways: experience and actually learning about the subject, right? Right. And ideally it's a blend. So, you go deeper into knowing your craft, then you have confidence in managing a patient in front of you, right? You're a new grad, you're 1-2 years out, and you can't treat a simple plantar fasciitis because you're doing cross fiction massage and big toe stretching, or wearing that sock that they tell you to put on. Meanwhile, that's like the most simple shit that you learn in school, but that diagnosis goes a mile deep into intervention, other passable drivers that can be causing it. But you didn't take the time out to learn that. So why should you be paid more?
Bingo. That's all shit people can do on their own. Like we always bitch about that. Like, go.
Sorry. And then you wonder, all these people, like, I don't know if you know about Stretch Lab that's out there. You got a fucking company that's franchised to stretch people, and they charge $100 an hour to get stretching done. Meanwhile, the average therapy company can't get somebody to pay $100 a session. Well, why? Because there's perceived value in it, right? So again, being able to communicate and sell what you're doing.
Yeah.
And somebody can't stretch themselves. They can go put a sock on themselves that puts them in dorsiflexion.
We literally just had this conversation on LinkedIn with everyone should follow just for empowerment within the profession. Lance Mambry, I believe. He's pretty big on LinkedIn, but he posted that about Stretch Lab. He's like, is this a threat to our profession? And a lot of people are like, yes. I view it as no, it shouldn't be. I mean, we have massage therapists out there, we have personal trainers doing stretching, whatever it may be.
But they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be, but let's say massage therapists.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Let's say it's out there and whatever it may be. Hell, we have a place not too far from one office that does high intensive neuro gait training unweighted with people who have no experience whatsoever. So that's a different debate on another day. That gets Chris Carroll's potatoes boiled, but it should be more than that. We know that it's what we provide isn't just purely stretching or manual therapy or whatever. And let's say efficacious of just stretching individuals isn't that great, because if that was the case, yoga would be the primary choice for anyone with neuromusculoskeletal pain. But physical therapy is more than that. It's maybe manual therapy, which may incorporate some stretching, but it's education, it's exercise, it's taking the time, it's following up, it's testing and retesting, it's figuring out the specifics of each individual. They're not doing that at Stretch Lab because they don't have the knowledge part. All right. They get a quick course. Here's how you stretch someone, you strap them to the table, let them have at it. But we're losing it because they're thinking probably at the same level than most of our PTs. I'm going to cookie cut or something. Hell, the Stretch Lab is probably given more treatment than most places are. So, and we bitch about that. We complain, oh, they're taking away our business. Well, fucking work harder and be better, and those people will come to you. All right, because I guarantee you, for more chronic pain or more serious pain, that the Stretch Lab is probably not going to get done. That's when us as PTs or whatever other professions, chiros, whatever, that's where we can really add our value to it, getting into the in-depth psyche of individuals and combining with pain modulatory effects and combining with returning people to normalcy through exercise and functional exercises. But we're losing to these places, and rightfully so. We suck because we're not good enough, in all honesty, in sad cases. But I know places like Brandon's and a lot of the people that we've had on the show, Joe Byland and that sort of stuff, which are pushing the envelope and really getting good outcomes. And that's leading to, more people in their doors, and little places like Stretch Lab are not, taking people out of business.
My problem with Stretch Lab is they don't have a license to treat pain, right? It's in most practice acts, and this is another thing. Like patients don't know better. They know that they're tight or they're painful, and they think an area is tight, so they're looking for a solution to them. So they're going to a ill-equipped provider in Stretch Lab to cure a problem that should be a physical therapist, because physical therapy is either A, not known about, or B, has a horrible track record about it. So that's where my problem. And yes, it's a bad thing for us, because you have people that should be coming to us that are not, because like you said, we're not doing a good enough job. Now that is on multiple fronts. That goes on communication, that goes on skill set, that goes on a lot of different fronts here. But like you said, they're able to make a model that works because they're providing perceived value. People will pay for perceived value. Just because you have a DR in front of your name doesn't mean anything, because the perceived value of the US medical model is pretty shitty as a whole. Now we're kind of going off to other topics. But
yeah, this is good. A lot of different tangents and that sort of. If I can bring up one more thing, I guess, reeling us back in here for imposter syndrome, and especially the claims that a lot of these individuals say and kind of tell you, stop pushing yourself, don't go for the OCS, don't invest all this money into making yourself a better clinician, which anybody who says that you shouldn't do that, you should stop following them immediately. Start to question their whys of why they're doing that. More often than not, there's somebody who wants you to take that money, that $8,000, $10,000, let's say even a course, weekend course of $1,000, and they want you to invest into whatever they're providing, something online, something, cookie cutter, blueprinty, whatever it may be, and spend that money on them and whatever they can provide versus, you making yourself a better clinician. Nobody in this world should ever try and convince you to not be a better clinician. And if they do, you should say, fuck you, you suck, you should retire, and stop giving people advice. That's my opinion on that. So
I agree. And just in general, look at life or your career as an investment, like that. No one can ever take knowledge away from you. So whether it's a course, whether it's business, whether it's marketing, whether it's copywriting, whatever realm you're going into, any of these courses that you take are going to give you insight. Even the bad ones will give you insight. So it's understanding why and what you're trying to do with each course that you take that is going to make it successful or not. And then again, carrying it out. Taking a course and then not taking any action on it is not going to do it. Taking a course, trying something for 1 week, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, you're not going to become good enough. Like, it takes a while to become really good and master something. You look at Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. You have the 10,000 hour rule, which means it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. So no matter what it is that you take, and usually these people who are complaining about imposter syndrome or courses not working, well, did the course not work, or did you just not practice it? Like, we just had a conversation with a potential intern who had taken a course on manipulations. Actually, it was our course. And then comes back and he's like, yeah, I really haven't been practicing or anything. Well, that's on you, bro. That's not the fact that our course sucks. Maybe it is, but you have to take some autonomy too. Like, you can only bring a horse to water, no matter what it is you're trying to learn, right? You could just learn it. You have to now do it every single day to become good at it. That takes work. And I just, I don't know what it is. It's just people don't want to put that time in. Like, there's no shortcut around it. Like, how do you get stronger? You work out every day. You put time under the bar. How do you get better at basketball? You play and practice every day. How do you get better at driving? You drive, right? You don't read about driving. You get better. How do you get better at sex? You fucking have sex, right? Like you don't read about it, right? Like,
Sure.
it's all, you laugh. And I threw that last one in there for a little relief there, but like, there's no substitute for doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
There's none. You can try and expedite it, which is obviously what we preach, but the imposter syndrome is thinking you know it all and thinking you don't need any additional help.
Yeah, that's where the issue comes again. As we bring it back to the beginning, is you come out of school, you feel like you're good, got the doctorate, don't need any help. Let me see what I can do. That's it. As we say a couple times on the show, Dunning-Kruger effect. Don't fall victim to that. Start off with, yeah, I might have this degree. It's awesome. It lets me get my hands on people, lets me at least make a salary, which is better than most. Man, we bitch again about, it's always a complaint. Oh, this surgeon gets, hundreds of thousands of dollars for only operating on someone for an hour and that sort of stuff. That surgeon busted his or her ass off till the time where they were close to 40. What have you done? You stopped learning at 24. Work 40 hours. Most surgeons I know still work 80, 90, 100-hour weeks, and they're having kids and having full families and that sort of stuff. And you dare to compare it to them. And again, there's good and bad of every profession and different skill level of surgeons and such. But they put the work, the time, the research. They all go through residency, fellowship, training, and that sort of stuff. So they earn the right to, it's not the amount of time they put into a procedure. It's all that amount of time they put in beforehand to learn the procedure, to do it the right way, to get it done. So
you're not paying me for my time. You're paying me for my time that it took me to learn how to do said activity, right? Like
something like that. Yeah. There's probably a more concise way, but
yeah. I'm not good with words.
I can't think of the quote either. I've seen it hundreds of times, but can't think of it. And that's it. Like a lot of people, we see a lot of cash people, and they're like, I'm like, eval $150, and they're like, well, that's a lot. I'm like, well, you've tried other places and that sort of stuff, and clearly haven't gotten better. If you even tried the surgical route, try us, and you'll see. And everyone's like, yep, totally worth it. Haven't had anybody who's come in and was like, that wasn't worth it. It's because the cost of that eval is because all the years beforehand, all the training and everything beforehand. It wasn't, it's not like I'm seeing them for half a day to do it. No, it's standard eval. So
yeah, last thing, I mean, you said something that resonated. Like I had a patient, it was actually a PT. I've had this happen a few times where like, they're like, hey, funds are tight. I could pay you, X amount of dollars. It's not my normal rate or anything. All right, fine. I said, I'll treat me for a handful of sessions. And then guess what? They referred X amount of people to me. They've taken my courses. They've done X, Y, and Z. Now I have a patient lifetime value. The immediate return was not there.
mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, the immediate term was, in one instance, it was like 10 or 20 bucks I saw the person for. I'm worth way more than that, right? 10 or 20 bucks. Well, I was referred like 5 family members, a couple friends. They referred someone to my courses, actually, and then that person took another 3 courses, right? So my lifetime value for that person is now, into thousands, almost $10,000, if not more.
Oh yeah.
Right? I made 10 bucks on them in the front end.
Mm-hmm.
But on the back end, I made a lot of money.
You put off that instant gratification of getting paid a lot of money for, again, you saw the long-term picture.
And it's just putting out good in the world. Like, okay, you pay it forward. So people have helped you out in the past. And granted, our profession sees too many or gives away too much things for free. I totally get it. But, picking and choosing, when, and, understanding that there's probably going to be a longer term payoff. That's just kind of the way the world works, the universe works. and I think that comes down to bite people in the ass, right? Going back to imposter, taking the OCS, and we're just using OCS as an example because there's no immediate return on your investment. But again, you have 30 years in your career
Yeah.
to make it worth the return. But
I had a professor when I went to go teach. He was a great professor, but at the point I was probably double board certified. I don't think I went through the fellowship at that point. I definitely did. And he's just like straight up, he owned his own business and everything like that. And he straight up said to me, he's like, if I were you, I wouldn't get any more certs or anything like that. And I was taken back by him. And this guy has his EDD, I believe, PhD, one of the sorts. And he was like, it's not going to gain you any more money or any more referrals. Every once in a while, you do get a random bloke who's an OCS in Kentucky referring someone down the road for an OC who wants to look for an OCS. I know I do that a ton of times. That's how I search for people. But my response was like, I don't do it for referrals. I don't do it at all for referrals. I do it to get better, to get my patients better quicker. So I understand more, to prevent us unnecessary surgery, to give someone hope and that sort of stuff. So I don't do it for referrals. I don't do it for more money. I don't do it for any of that. It's really just I want to get better at my craft and become a better representation of what this profession can do. That's my only reason. And it's like, oh, I'm sad. It's like, well, you do have to fellowship. Like, it's like, oh, maybe take another fellowship. I don't know. But
conferences, like a lot of this stuff is just networking anyway. Like, probably didn't realize at the time, but looking back, like at every level I've made it. Like I met Jeremy at residency. Wouldn't have met this young chap over here if I didn't go to residency. Well, now look at what we've done. Well, I started my practice, then he wanted to start his. He reached out. Well, we've built a friendship over that now. Now we do courses together. Then he decided to do fellowship. He's met some people through fellowship. They asked us now to do courses. Like this is, when we do residency, 2014, we're now in 2022, right? So this chain of events, this butterfly effect is now paying off, quote unquote, 8 years down the road, where, and at least these are just examples in our lives. It'll happen differently in other people's lives, but like this is the outline that happens. And then we'll meet some people from meeting those people, and we present at AOMP, and we meet people there, and then they ask us to do X, Y, and Z. And I was just asked from somebody in my fellowship to host a dry needling course. Like, that's a contact. Right. We did this. I did fellowship. Joe Byland, we asked him on the show because I like his approach, and we think eye to eye on a lot of things. He came on our show. He talked, I forget what we talked about on his show. Education. Guess what? Somebody listening knew Joe Byland from way back when, reached out and asked him to do a course. So he got somebody out of it. Like, this is what it keeps kind of going out. And, shit, I'm just realizing this shit. So, paying that forward and looking big picture, bigger horizon.
And if you don't have the money to invest in yourself, I get it. We were all broke as shit in college and PT school, and we're in a shit ton of debt coming out of it. And if you're like, oh, well, I can't afford it now, let's face it, 10 years down the road, you're probably not gonna have any much more money because you start a family, not to knock on having a family and that sort of stuff, but you'll still be in debt. Work something out. All right, you get a couple $1,000s from your company for continuing education. Invest that into something and pay up like half of it and that sort of stuff. It's like, oh, I can't do it now, and then can't do it next year, and then 6 years go by and you hate your job because you chose not to do something that could have helped out years ago. So work something out, negotiate with your employer, pick up a weekend job to pay off the extra education or whatever it may be. Don't let your current financial situation restrict you for the rest of your life. All right, so that you're not the 60-year-old therapist hating his job and doesn't have any money in the bank. But That's my.
No, if you don't have money, you have time, right? Try and shadow somebody. Tell somebody you'll work for free if you're earlier on. Hey, I'll do X, Y, and Z if you just teach me what you know.
It's great.
So, all right. I guess with that, we keep ranting on. We keep ranting on.
St. Patty's Day just lit a fire under our ass. I love it.
Yeah, it's the raspberry whale cake.
Yeah. Well, everyone, thanks for coming on board, listening into our rants today. Hopefully you got something out of it. Stay tuned, listen to the intro there where we have some courses coming up, our ACL courses this weekend, following up with our lumbopelvic. We have a private course as well. And then a couple shoulders, the next one down by me, I believe. And then
next few down by you.
Yeah, the South, Philly, all those places, come on in. Let's get better. Let's level up, as this beer is. All right, level up. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and cheers. Happy St. Patty's Day.